Welcome everybody to the third seminar on business engagement, which we will host today after two successful meetings we had on co-creation and on senior engagement. Today's agenda was prepared in close cooperation with Barbara, as she is the work package leader of this working group. And we wanted you to maybe have first a little feedback from you. How did you like the last two trainings in order to wake up? Maybe can you give us a short feedback that we start interaction with our participants. So please answer the, don't be too critical with us, please. Yes. Lorraine, do you see results upcoming?
Yes, just a second. Here we go. Can you see the results? I think Andreas freezed, isn't it? Andreas, is yes, yes.
He disappeared from the shop.
This is because it's the last training section.
Yes.
Something must happen. Nothing goes wrong during the previous two. Something has to be happens in this one.
But no, everything will be fine.
Hi, Anna. It's very funny. So I think he joins in a few seconds. So overall, I think it's a good result regarding the last two trainings. Yesterday, you also received the graphic record of the last training, and I think it's a very good summary and a very good preparation for today. So let me see. Otherwise, I share the presentation. Just a second. So. So now you must see my screen. Okay, and this will be our plan for today. After a short introduction, we will hear a little bit about business engagement tools. Barbara is giving us an overview, and then we have two best practice keynotes. One will be the digital tree with a breakout session, and afterwards we will hear the Silver Economy Forum. And we will do a breakout session as well. Then we have a short break, and EIT Health is giving us after the break, some information about their business model, and then you are free to ask questions or whatever you are interested in. And then it's 1 p.m. and our third training finishes. So, just a second, here we go. Our objectives for today is to explore business engagement tools, to gain insights into involving business in a in a participatory and interactive way, to share knowledge and good practices, and to combine business engagement and senior engagement. And that's why you received the short summary of the results in form of the graphic record yesterday.
Andrea is back.
Is he?
Yes.
Sam, I lost my connection with a fixed line. Now I'm connected via my phone.
Okay, perfect.
Did you ask the partners for who they are? I think.
No, not at all. Just a second.
You didn't prepare the...
I missed it.
Okay, but then, okay, don't worry. We can skip it because I think most of the participants are similar like we had from the last meeting. And the procedure we will organize the meeting today is pretty similar to the last two meetings. So we will have basically 3 sessions where we have a presentation, shared screen with a PowerPoint. You can use the chat if you have questions. We collect all the questions and then we'll answer it after it. And yeah, next slide. And yeah, for the outbreak sessions, again, we will have smaller groups. Doreen will allocate everybody to a special group. There will be one host or moderator for each group. We can have a very open discussion. It would be nice if you can switch on your video that we can see you. We will have a Word document where we have the questions to be discussed during the outbreak sessions, and we will write down the discussion points we have. And we have again the graphic recorder who did a wonderful job during the last 2 meetings. And after the outbreak sessions, we have a presentation, short presentation of the main important results. And don't worry about your English. We are in a small group. We are non-native speakers, and so we can speak openly. Next slide. Okay, and that's how we organize the meeting today. I will be moderating. Doreen is the technical coordinator. We have thematic presentations from Barbara, Anna, and there's a new speaker, Daniela, who took over the position of Marco. And we have 5 outbreak sessions today who will be moderated by Barbara, Christian, Andreas, Attila, and then possibly if Marco not is joining, can Daniela also moderate one session? We can.
The first one, yes.
Yes, okay, the first one, that would be perfect. Perfect, good, that we can continue with this structure, okay. And again, we have this data protection. Your pictures are very valuable for us and for Europe. That's why we need to sign a document that gives us the right to use the picture for our publicity activities, social media, and so on. If you not have signed this page, please do it now or do it later. I don't know, Doreen, how many of the persons from last meeting did sign? Did everybody sign? Did you have problems?
No, it was nearly the half of all participants. I think 23 or 24. Okay,
so yeah. Let's if you can do it now, please. If not, then we have to deal with it. And that would be the last slide. Doreen, should we take the picture now?
Yes.
Okay, so then.
Just a second.
You end your presentation, share the screen.
Yes, that's why. Just a second, we will take the picture.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, now it works. Okay. So. Everyone is going to say cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese. Okay, next one. Because we have two screens. Okay, cheese. Perfect, thanks a lot.
Okay, good. Then we managed our introduction round, and we can start with the first presentation, which will be given by Barbara, again to give a short introduction to the topic of business engagement as starter for this screen.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you for attending. This is a very short presentation because we have just 10 minutes, but I would like to give you just a background about what we mean for business engagement and what we did in an iCare Smart process till now about this topic. So usually with a business, we refer to a set of activities, strategies, partnership, and so on, specifically designed to support and promote the benefit of the businesses, to satisfy the needs of the businesses, which is a different approach with respect to the new aim of business engagement, especially in co-creation, because in the iCare Smart framework, with the terms business engagement, we refer to, again, a set of activities, strategies, partnerships, and tools designed to engage business in the co-creation process. Why we need to do this? Because there is a question, is it so difficult to engage businesses in the co-creation process? Is it so hard to explain them, to be in touch with the other elements of the quadruple helix? It depends, of course. It depends of the proposal you did to the business. It depends of the role you have when you keep in touch with businesses. There are many evidences that co-creation provide an added value for businesses because even if it's a long process, it reduces the time in modify the design of new product, in adapt the new product to the real need. If you start designing, co-creating with the right stakeholders, you reduce the problems and the troubles you can have later on. But especially with small and medium enterprises, this is not so easy. There are a lot of examples of co-creation or better creation with business to customers or business to consumer. But these examples are merely related to big corporation. If I have time, I would like to show you, this is a kind of movie. Can you see the movie? Okay. The sound does not provide any added value. It seems to be a cartoon, but this explains the process of Cuso, that is the platform for co-creating that Lego used. So this is a real example of co-creation from business with consumers. The bricks that are cartoonized are people that are just using blocks. They share the ideas, and the platform voting the ideas they have. Lego monitoring, see there is a sufficient number of approval of this new idea, and this became a new product. So it's a very simple process, but there is something back. So you have to manage your trustability in this process. And the reason why small and medium enterprise have these difficulties, because there is probably a lack of knowledge of the co-creation process. What does it mean? What we are the stakeholder that must be involved case by case. And the time required for co-creating, it's usually not so much available in small enterprises, mainly because staff involved in small enterprises are really overloaded of activities. And also sometimes there is a lack of clear process to manage a trusted collaboration, especially when people does not know each other. This is the main reason why, if there is some good practice in co-creation, sometimes they involve people that already know a priori. For example, you have inside your company a researcher and you start to work with the university from this researcher come, because you know the professor, you know the research group, and so on. Otherwise, on the contrary, sometimes we have too many documents to be provided and signed and to start collaborating. What we identify in our research was which are the driven factors. So we looking at all the components of the quadruple helix, what we know that the driven factors are the same for the business too. So we have to talk about opportunity. We have to talk about needs. We have to talk about new ideas. And these are the same of all of them. Just to, when we can match these driven factor to all the element or a part of them, we can create a good co-creation process. So about the tool, in the material we share with you, there is the final version of the tool. That is the first version, because we have to discuss inside each task forces during the few months we have in front of us, which are the best tool. But we identify some model that are behind the best practices. So in the tool we proposed, we have in reality some model. What this means that we have to modify the model. We have to adapt the model before understanding the context in which we are working to set up a co-creation process we involved in businesses, and to address the driven factor. So we have to identify the specific driven factor for each element of each ideas we want to share, and to for that we have to set up a co-creation process. So the example we are going to present here in the subsequent minutes are two examples of tools applied in the same region. They are very different, but they are applied in the same context. And there are some businesses that are involved in both of them. This is possible because they address different needs and they propose satisfy different driven factors for businesses. So I think I have almost closed. I do fast as possible so I can recap a few minutes. And if this is a very quick introduction about the purpose of today, about what you can find in the business engagement toolbox. If there are no questions, I can leave the floor to Daniela Congiu. Is it fine?
Okay, thank you, Barbara, for the introduction. I think we have a lot of room to discuss during the OUTBREAK sessions, and we can move on to our first thematic presentation. We're happy to have a representative from the Digital Tree Innovation Habitat. Daniela, we're looking forward to hear your presentation.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I am Daniela Congiu. I am a sociologist, and I am. Can you hear me very well?
We hear you. We hear you.
Okay.
Yes, very good.
And I am partner of Mixura. Mixura is a consultant company that is owner of Digital Tree Innovation Habitat, and I'm happy to share with you our habitat, and I'd like in the next time to visit to show you directly Digital Tree Innovation Habitat. If you ever come to Italy, would like to see it. Now I share the presentation. Okay. Can you see?
Yes, we can see it. And now go to presentation mode.
Yeah, I'm already done.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Looks good.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Digital Tree Innovation Habitat. Our statement is someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And is a phrase that inspired us when we started thinking about creating a digital tree. And we like to share with you this idea that we had some years ago. What kind of scenario are we living? In which scenario did we operate? The world is changing radically, and this happened with the advent of artificial intelligence and machine learning, a technology that is not innovated in itself. It was theorized in the middle of the last century, but thanks to the advent of cloud computing and quantity of data, they are generated daily, has clearly found a new use, and today there is a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. Every one of you probably heard about it. And Digital Tree, it's a vertical habitat dedicated to artificial intelligence. And today, any type of company, any type of organization has to any type of industries must ask the question how digital transformation will impact its business, how it will transform it, not if it, but how, and that this will happen in the questions. That is the reality in this moment, yes? And even our country, your countries, Italy, Europe, the whole world are not prepared to face this radical transformation for regulatory problems, for a problem of access to data, for a problem of people competencies. And the preparation of our young people is still not too low, is still too low, and far to allow a full responsible reception of this transformation brought by artificial intelligence. And in European Cloud Strategy paper, and is the Grand Coalition for Digital Jobs. It's a good step, but not fully aligned with the new AI transformation way, which is already here. And this is why we decided to create a place, a habitat, focused on artificial intelligence, and where it is possible to create a context suitable for the creation of skills and the creation of new businesses or startups, where to foster the contamination between new companies that bring innovation and more traditional companies. Our aim is to put together different stakeholders, different representative of society, young people, start-upper companies, big companies, public administration. We wanted to create a highly evocative, atypical physical environment, but we wanted that it was suitable for bringing together all different kind of people, of different kind of interest, startuppers, students who are acquiring skills, and allowing them to attend people representing companies already operating on the market. Because how Barbara was saying, the difficulty is not to think how to do, but really do this meet between different kind of people, different kind of context. So the Innovation Hub is focused on development of competencies and culture related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cognitive computing. It's a vertical specific initiative are taking place to support adoption of AI in vertical sectors and industries. We make many different events about that, and now I describe you. And I want also to tell you that Digital Tree was born in a building that was of property of our town, of Genova, of the community of Genova, and our mayor decided to let this building to become an innovation habitat for the development of AI, in artificial intelligence. With a public tender, the city assigned a 2,000 square meters building for a 15 years period to Digital Tree to be fully restructured and became a smart building that hosts an incubator able to offer up space, services, and facilities for several startups that have to focus exclusively on AI and machine learning to build up their ideas. And here you can see some of our rooms. Digital Tree make different services. Our vision is to prepare people and companies to face the future by creating an ecosystem open to the territory where skills can be created and business ideas development. We created at first a permanent academy to host in collaboration with Microsoft, which offers a wide variety of courses for both 6-year-old children who can take introductory machine learning courses up to postgraduate masters dedicated to the creation of certified professional figures, such as the data scientist, who today is one of the most searched figures on LinkedIn. You know that many companies look for data scientists, and the university prepare not enough of them. The Academy is also running events to foster the technological awareness of the city. Our habitat is open, is very open. We make many different events open to the town, open to the people of our town, because in particularly we have permanent initiatives like meetups. And the habitat is also acts as a platform for open innovation initiatives available to both private and public stakeholders, offering a mix of startup dynamics and effective AI and data tech landscape scenario. So the story of Digital Tree was born in 2018, the year of the foundation of the Habitat, and continued with several calls for startups dedicated to different vertical teams, including healthcare, energy, environment, and more. We created the first and only one currently operates Microsoft Academy on artificial intelligence. And our vision is get people and companies ready for the challenge of the future. This is what we see in the next future. And our mission is to spread and develop a culture of competencies regarding artificial intelligence. So we do this by encouraging the birth of new AI ideas and supporting their development, and supporting business connected with AI. We also promote the adoption of AI-based solution in existing business. So we work with startups, but also with companies that are already big but wanted to develop new business through AI-based solutions. Our value proposition is this: we offer an attractive ecosystem for the economic environment, combining expertise and excellence of the territory. The territory of Genoa, the University of Genoa, is very well known in Italy and abroad for the expertise that we have about machine learning and AI. And Digital Tree is a place where we are going on, but we have already done. We put together all many different forces with many different brains, with many different willing to do something to develop a business for our town through AI. And the business are of many different kinds, of many different types. Some milestones. We was born on February 18, after many months, I think, of study and preparation. Digital Tree was founded and started its activity in the restructured building in Genoa. I want to say before of the next ballot that we started with a stakeholder engagement event. I mean that we invited in our building many different kind of people of different kind of part of our town. Manager, person of the public administration, students, people from the school, people from university, many different. And we were very proud of the start, because for us, stakeholder engagement is our way of life, our way of develop Digital Tree. Between February and March of the same year, we make a call for startups. Digital Tree launched its first call for ideas, looking for startup based on AI application. It was wide, this call, and in March, Digital Tree developed the second path for startup based on the AI applied, exclusively on the healthcare business. That I think that could be interesting for you, because often healthcare go with the problem of old people. In September was born Maya. Maya is Microsoft Academy Intelligence Artificial. Microsoft, yes. The first Artificial Intelligence Academy was launched in September, and now we are preparing the first edition, selecting the next generation of data scientists. This academy prepared data scientists. In December of the same year, Digital Tree was invited to sit at the table of the Ministry of Economic Development, Italian ministry, and the goal is to establish the guidelines for Europe regarding AI and its application. It was a very interesting job done with many different partners in ministry in Rome, and at the end, we had a good document that we sent to European Union. Today, we are preparing C1A0, but in Italian, you can also read it like ciao. I think that you know what means ciao for Italy. For Italy, that means hello. That is a very nice way to say hello to people. And we had the first edition, November 19, and now we are developing the second AI World Congress in Genoa, that will take place in Genoa, but I mean, we have many different ways because of the virus. We had some part of our Congress online and probably in the next spring directly. What we do? Academy. So we design and provide training programs to create competencies in artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and big data. Courses are for professionals, for students. We aim to train up to 2,200 people in 3 years. And we use a blended model based on teachers, experts, tech tools, and the contamination in the habitat. For us, it's very important that in our habitat live differently people from companies, people from universities, students, startups. We think that is very useful and stimulating for persons. Maya is the academy I was talking about. The academy pathway is set out in 3 main topics: big data, data science, and artificial intelligence. Provide 3 months of training and partnering company hiring. It's very important, this, because the young people, start with the training in Maya, but at once they have the connection with companies that could also hire them. And we also offer Microsoft certification to students that attend to our Maya. Incubator. The engine of Digital Tree is represented by startup. During 2 years, we launched different calls for ideas, looking for AI-powered realities that could join our incubator and follow a 6-month path with our business analyst. We have business analysts that help the startupper to develop their ideas. And we also provide technical support and help to find funds. Right now, we have 16 startups in the incubator operating different sectors: healthcare, voice first, robotics, tech, and others. I hope to be in the right time. Among our startups, there are some startups that have arrived in the digital tree through calls dedicated to the health theme, and such as solutions that favor the support of the elderly person, whether he is a resident in his home or a resident in a protected residence, and monitoring the style of life and perhaps supporting caregivers in providing assistance. For example, Pillow Health. I don't know if probably you have already had some ideas about that. And Humanavox and Teseo. Probably you have already ideas about Teseo. In any case, with this, with the link, you can go to see what kind of reality are these startups. And also Open Eyes is interesting. It started with different ideas, but then they decided it could be very useful also for elder people. Open innovation is still a part of our life, of the life of Digital Tree. Open innovation is a paradigm that assumes that firms can and should use external ideas as well as internal ideas, and internal path to market as the firms look to advance their technology. And this is something linked with was Barbara was talking to you before. We mean that also the big company sometimes have difficulties to have new ideas and to develop new ideas. So open innovation means to be open to innovations, ideas. And so following our vision, we get people and companies ready for the challenge of future. We provide both solutions and services for those companies aiming and integrating the process with AI. Through startup, through our teachers, university teachers, contaminations among the actors of the habitat, we have designed a solution and methods on how to implement them. Open innovation is something new, but is really the way in which big companies start to develop their innovation, their new ideas. You know, big companies usually do what have always done. Every organization makes so, but open to our kind of people, open to our kind of experience, they also can develop innovation. And so is with the contamination with startup. Our goal is to give real opportunity to both to young people and to companies to develop this. This is our ecosystem. There are many incubators in Europe providing consulting services to entrepreneurs. There are many university and education centers that are developing courses and are remediating the topic. Our characterizing factor is the ecosystem we have created around artificial intelligence. Since our birth, we have looked for different partners and we have promoted the contamination among competencies and sectors. So incubator, academy, and open innovation. And we discover new opportunities, leaving the building and increasing the network. We are very committed to increase the network, and our network is growing up every day. We want to generate relationships that are able to produce innovation. We want our goal is to give the local, national, and European territory an extra opportunity in terms of economic development. You know, Genoa is a town with many problems, economic, demographic, and so on. And we want to be an opportunity. And so we are proud in having created an incubator of innovative startups. We wanted to develop for long times this habitat. And so, for example, the idea of C1AZ through is this one. The people we form in the academy could solve problems for the startups that live on the habitat and needs experts in AI or in data analysis. These are our maximum power and heritage. Make people meet and do and work together. I have finished my presentation. I hope to have been in the right time. And if you have some questions, I am open for you.
So thank you so much, Daniela. I would like just to highlight that you are a sociologist. So that is because this represents the idea to have different stakeholders. So you're talking about an incubator that is a vertical incubator specialized in artificial intelligence, but people that are engaged try so people who work in there try to engage the different stakeholders with the proper competencies. that is, you are an example of this, because if you want to talk, in my experience, I'm a computer scientist, I'm an engineer, I have to talk with older adults. Now we learn about some models, and we learn that there are difficulties, but we have to contact the proper competent person or to learn how to keep in touch with them. Because if I start to talk about algorithm and so on, people are scared, disappear, does not understand nothing. So I think that you represent what is the environment of Digital Tree that is involve different expertise and teach to be open with the mind first.
Yes, and this open mind is one of the ideas that we have in Digital Tree, and we always try to give this idea to our startuppers and innovators. For example, both in Maya and in other kind of training, we always have some part of training dedicated to communication, presentation, how to talk, are you saying, to people, and how to involve, how to engage people in the business. Because I forget to say you something about how the startup get money to go on. So we dedicate a day for the investor that we call Investor Day. In this Investor Day, startuppers have to present themselves, to give with a pitch, an idea, a very short pitch, an idea of their business, and the investor can decide if invest or not. So we prepare them also for this. It's a kind of competence. It's a soft competence that is very useful for this kind of.
It's mandatory. I can.
Yes.
Say.
Okay.
So I would like to leave the floor to Andreas and to Doreen, because I think now it's the proper time to go on the start the OUTBREAK session. But Doreen, are you here?
Yes.
I miss you.
I don't know what's wrong today.
Because it's the last day.
Yes. So everything that did not happen the last 2 trainings happens today. But I'm here, and yes, we can start the breakout sessions. So I'm going to send you to the breakout sessions, and then
I don't know if there are questions. I didn't see in the chat if there are any questions.
No.
Okay, so we can go on. Thanks.
Then we give you, I send you the PowerPoint, so you can share everyone. And also in the last days, if you have some question, I let also my email, so you can connect me, and I appreciate any questions that you want to do.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. We will meet in the main session at about 10:30, and then enjoy your breakout sessions. Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome back. So I see I had some problems in between, but I see we are still 39 participants in the big group. Thanks again, Daniela. I didn't have a chance to say thank you for your presentation. It was very inspiring. And also our discussion in the group. And we should have a very short summary of what we discussed in our groups. And in my group, we were a lot of Austrian people discussing about cooperation between companies or business incubators aiming to involve like seniors. There were some examples of energy companies that developed smart meters, trying to understand the opinion of elderly people. We talked with Fanny about the Hungarian case, where also some companies aiming at co-creation, but sometimes if there's shortage of money, then this is the first thing that might be skipped. So still there's a lot of effort to be invested to lobby for the idea of co-creation, not only business to business or business academia, but also business to the end user. And in the end, we had a very interesting presentation by Beatrix, or discussion, explanation of an EU project called DAPAS that developed a new device for elderly people to allow communication. So that means it's internet-based, a tablet, a kind of Skype, WhatsApp call, combined with an emergency bracelet, and it's a project where they want to involve 40 seniors, and some of them are very age group 60 to 90, and so very interesting. Unfortunately, had to make a break due to Corona, but when it comes back, might be interesting to have a look in it. So, yeah, Christian, what was your discussion like in your group?
Well, to be honest, they had a bit of problem with some questions, because most of them could have been answered with yes or no, and this is of course not the idea of the discussion. So we thought about, we tried to think about those questions in a bit of a different way, if we want to. So what we found out is that incubators are a main tool for science to start businesses. But it is very difficult to make profit within early phases of an innovation or innovation project, if you want to. So there is a need for funding. Public authorities might have, or universities themselves, whatever. Those incubators are definitely needed for innovations in early phases. But it might still be tricky to set up a real working business model. The next thing we asked, what are the subjects that are directly involved, and came to the conclusion it is of course academia, with researchers from different areas like engineering, informatics, business administration, of course, public authorities, also legal experts, and investors might be involved, as well as strategic partners, like think about mentors or business angels, and also consultants in some cases, which might add expertise or knowledge, whatever. So those are things I might add to what you found out, Andreas.
Okay, thank you. Ati, what did you discuss in your group?
Yeah, we were mostly discussing the specializations of each region, what kind of sectors or industries are supported, and we have found that at least in Austria there is like a more advanced and structured ways to sort of like specialize regions to specific industries through like these company clusters, or like entity clusters, I could say, that helps these industries develop their professional network and create some cooperations. And also something about like most regions have some incubators close to the regional task force, but not, I would say, very close, or at least the people in our outbreak sessions didn't have a very close experience with that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ati. Daniela, did you moderate the session? What was your, I had a lot of questions to you, but then I dropped out of the conference. What was your discussion?
The discussion was interesting, but I have understood that one of the participants have to make the moderator. So we decided that Agnieszka could summarize our discussion. I hope it's not a problem.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. So
in any case, I can say that the discussion was interesting because who talked about their own experience, and some underline the difficulties of the language in the moment of the engagement of the different kind helix that we decided to use. Yes. So please, Agnieszka, thank you very much. If you want to summarize.
Agnieszka, can you? Yeah, no.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I suppose the most important part in our discussion was that we have to learn language of benefits, storytelling to all helix involved in our task, because the most important is to show the benefits for university, for business, for government, for seniors, that they see the goal, our efforts, to see what is the aim, what we have to do, and when they see, they may be, I suppose, participant in this. So I suppose this is the most important result of our discussion.
Okay, thanks, Agnieszka.
Yes,
Barbara.
I wanted to little help that I suggested to the person of the group to look at AA1000 SES, that is an European standard for the stakeholder engagement. I write in the chat of our group.
Yes.
And it's an idea, I think, that could be useful for you to see this standard, that in European standards, simple to use and to share, and describe of all the path that you have to do for engagement that isn't once a time, but is something structured that goes on during the time. And I think it's useful for the process for your project to look at this tool. It could be useful. Could give also some tricks to involve people and to create the language, because the language of benefits is what is interesting to make people engage for long term. And I underline to the group that today some companies start a new way to front the business, not only focalize on money, but also focalize on the impact, on the social impact, on the impact on the nature, on the impact of the person. That is a good idea to have in mind when you make engagement.
Okay, thanks for the comment. Daniela, we will share the resource. And Barbara, last but not least, what was your discussion?
So our group was composed by project partners. So the discussion was more related to how to use this tool, because the incubator provide basic services, but you need also some soft services. We discussed about the possibility to engage business, the possibility to support, especially startups, in co-creation, because they probably don't have direct experience, and you need to provide the common language. So at least a professionist that support them in talking with the elderly. And also to involve all the stakeholders of the quadruple helix, because they provide an added value, but how much spread or short the group must be depends of the need you are going to address. And of course, the financial package, because this is kind of services, this kind of activity needs to be supported. And the time because especially smaller enterprises must be on the market very quickly. So they need to have feedback at the same time quickly, but to adopt the most proper process for co-creation, you have to also design this time according to the needs of the stakeholders and the business too. I'm finished, okay. Quick as possible.
Yes, perfect. We are so good in timing. It's 10:41. And we move on to the next topic, a presentation about the Silver Economy Forum.
So good morning, happy to be here, and thanks for the opportunity to present our project. My name is Anna Delle Piane, and I'm the event manager of the Silver Economy Forum. The event arrived at the third edition. It's an idea of Daniela Meri. Daniela Meri is the president of Ameri Communication, the communication agency that I'm working for. She understands the importance and value of silver economy in 2010 and started to invest a lot in the topic, starting from altraeta.it. Is our online magazine dedicated to over 60 needs. Today, the website is the official magazine for the networking generated around the project. The forum was born from the partnership with Genoa Municipality and Genoa Smart City, but is totally organized by Ameri Communication with sponsorship and supporter. In addition, Ameri's team manage all the format, the program, and the speakers panel. As we explained in the title of the presentation, the forum is the Italian event that brings together the most important silver economy stakeholder to analyze the silver age industry. This year, the forum was scheduled for June 2020, but obviously we have to move the third edition in October, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for COVID emergency. In order to look forward some topics of the event, we planned a web conference last June 17th with eminent speakers to discuss the impact of the virus on the silver population. A great success confirm the interest of the sector around this topic. So about the scenario, as probably many of you know, the business volume generated by the silver economy counts approximately $3 trillion per year. Impressive numbers that make this economy the third largest economy in the world, with the European volume reaching the 25% of GDP. Life expectancy in Lincoln and Europe is growing old quickly. According to statistics, the 18% of population was over 65 in 2003, while in 2050 the European average will reach 28% of over 65. In Italy, instead, the 21% of the population was over 65 in 2003, while in 2050, the average will reach 30% of over 65. This number proves that in Italy, the longevity and the quality of life are super. Given the above data, the aging population is a phenomenon that brings with the important and far-reaching consequence. Demographic change offers challenges, but also great opportunities for all economic sectors of society, like transport, food, insurance, residential structure, healthcare, tourism, communication, digital innovation, welfare, culture, and leisure. The forum is organized in Genoa, the main Ligurian city. Our company was based in the city, and we decided to maintain the forum in Genoa because Liguria is the oldest European region. The city so represents perfect the target of the company that work with senior and the best case for the sector. But like the title, what is exactly the Silver Economy Forum is? As anticipated, the conference is the first event in Italy to give voice to all business sectors that contribute to outline the economy around the world of over 60. The format includes a series of meetings, conferences, and workshops to understand the changes and draw a roadmap with experts, economists, companies, public administration, and associations on the effect of demographic changes. The macro areas that it investigates are economic, territory, and society. About the economic, the focus is on revolution, trends, and perspectives. For the territory, we analyze changes, policies, development, new opportunities to suggest the new needs. While for the life science, we examine social and cultural transformation brought by the increase and quality of life prospect. The direction of the forum is perfect, expressed in our claim, build together the silver future. In fact, the mission of the event is an overview on a longevity world as a resource of new investment, an opportunity to talk, give visibility to increase the market that comes from the silver economy sector, and offer a specialized container to deepen the aging population business area. More specifically, the vision wants to create a space for dialogue between realities of silver economy, both for benefit of companies in the sector and for demanding final consumer. It flows that the goal of the event is to stimulate public opinion and decision makers to scout the scenario and design a solution for the future. In addition, the forum wants to help companies to position themselves as the reference reality of the senior target by presenting dedicated service, advantages, innovations to satisfy the target audience. From the above consideration, the result of the project is a forum dedicated to the leading teams of the world of silver economy with authoritative speakers, institutions, professionals, companies, experts, and academic to give visibility to the world of senior and related services. During the day of the forum, the speakers are divided per thematic areas. The silver economic sector is very broad and transversal, and for a balanced scenario, we examine in deep many topics for showing a complete panoramic. The round tables are generally composed of quality speakers, institutional speakers, company speakers, and association speakers. A moderator, usually a journalist, introduce the speech and create a Q&A section at the end of the speeches. Going back to the topics, in this slide we can see them all. Specifically, we focus on new technologies, healthcare, economics and finance, consumption and tourism. So the area that best represent, best express the value of the silver economy. The idea of the format is various and wide. As part of the event, we plan also some collateral activities for our sponsor and target audience, with a workshop, press conference, private meetings, and co-marketing activities. As important activities of the forum, also networking and B2B moment on an online matching platform and physical event like cocktails or break time. In order to involve our supporters, we plan with them dedicated sections or CMI for professional order. Also, we offer virtual and physical stand to present their services, products, and give information. Other plus of the forum is the internationalization through important case studies, offering another view and another inspiration for create debate. From this year, we create also an observatory aiming at collecting data for companies about silver habit in different areas. This data relies to Silver Trends Observatory, introduce section of the forum, and are useful to campaigns to understand the target. To help the complex world of the startup, the event promotes a call for idea, which I will present at the end of the presentation. And to give further value to the project, we have established the Silver of the Year award for the person who best represents the silver personality. Finally, considering the COVID emergency, the physical event has also become online, aiming to involve largest number of audience and stakeholders. The audience of the event is made up of various targets that we can see quickly. Public and private companies, stakeholders, PMI, startup, institution, academic and research institutes, professional orders, associations, local and national media, and citizenship. We involve the target audience by sending newsletter dedicated to our database of silver contacts built over the years, by the online communication, for example, Facebook ADV, Google Ads, web banner, and article on newspapers or on our online magazine, altraeta.it. But also thanks to the dissemination by the association and the professional orders, and thanks the company and the speakers that support the forum. To give an overview of the last edition, we can take a look at the number we got. More than 2,000 people attended the location during the 3 days of the event. Over 10,000 users shared these intensive days through their social channels. We reached 200,000 people by sending newsletters in the moments leading up to the event. More than 60 speakers took the stage and addressed different topics in 7 thematic sessions. All the main Genovese regional and national bodies and institutional partners participate. We got the patronage of the Presidency of the Council of Ministers, the Ministry of Labour and Social Policy, and the European Commission. We have involved professional bodies, in particular lawyers, notaries, journalists, and social workers. And we went from 2 to 3 days of the event with the conference, workshop, and meetings. And this year, we have had 1 day more. The first appointment was the last June 17, and the next 3 days will be in October. As previously mentioned, the event is supported by Genoa municipality, but is totally self-financed. So the business model plan to involve more sponsors to support the organization of the event, consisting of an exchange of visibility and contacts. The category of sponsor follow the topic of the forum. Specifically, the areas are healthcare companies, hospital, technology companies, service or product companies, insurance and bank companies, like we can see in the slide. In addition to the economic support, the sponsorship of institutional partners are also very important in order to add value and visibility to the event. Like anticipate, we arrived to the call for startup organized. The winning startup received the awards during the forum and the economic support to help their business project. The aim of the call is to enable the development phase of innovative ideas or university spin-off projects or research centers that intend to become innovative startup. Specifically, the call was dedicated to new ideas, proposal, solution, and investment opportunities to support active aging in these areas: silver leisure, silver mobility, silver switch, active aging, assisted living, silver insurance and financing. The description of the singular area are in the slide, so it's not necessary that I mention it. The winner of the last edition, 2019, were 3 startups. One was a project dedicated to tourism, and 2 technological products for silver. So, in conclusion, the result that the forum aim to achieve are highlight the value of silver economy chain, report some data regarding aging and relevant opportunities, start a debate between stakeholders, institutions, and target audience to propose a new project or solutions, present some case histories of national and international member and their services, discuss the possible evaluation of partners, discuss the possible evolution of partners, companies, and institutions in the near future, and enlarge the network, facilitating the creation of a new collaboration and synergy around this sector. So thanks for the attention. I'm finished, and see you soon in the next Silver Economy Forum in autumn. And for updating, you can visit our website, is www.silvereconomy.it. But I'm finished.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just before to go in, sorry, Andreas, before to go in to discuss about this example, this is a completely different approach. So before we see a very dedicated approach for supporting business, and this is more related to identify a common knowledge, a common understanding of the silver economy, even if they provided also division of course focused on the different thematics of the silver age and the silver economy. They engage businesses providing networking. They have a very structured method to engage all the elements of the stakeholder that you see in the presentation. So, and we are in the same country. What you see in one of the slides, they provided the supporting companies. There are some of the companies that are inside the incubator too. So this is a method to have the engagement of the business. So providing information of this kind of events and to invite startup to become members, to be engaged. I think that, Andreas, you have some questions.
Thanks to the very interesting presentation, because you mentioned it's a little bit different, but what I really like is that it's a successful event, and as I understood correctly, it's self-financed, so that means you have a little money from the public side, but of course there are a lot of companies interested to present themselves, to look at the market and be sponsors and so on. And there was a question from the participants for the people that want to join the meeting. How much does it cost to enter this conference or this forum?
Sorry, I forgot to explain. The meeting is totally free for participants, so it's open to all.
Yeah.
And this year it's online and offline. So we plan in October, someday before, maybe 3 weeks in advance, we start the pre-registration, but it's just for understand how many participants we have. Is a formal, in informal situation, the request of pre-registration, because it's totally free.
From the 2,000 participants, like just for understanding an estimation, how many are like business, administration, all the stakeholders, and how many are just normal citizens, elderly, that are interested in this topic? What is the
most are professional participant or institutional or business. We organize Saturday morning a section completely dedicated to citizenship, so the generic target audience, so B2C audience, and we spoke about not easy but more understanding topics for a generic public. The first 2 days are more for business and networking.
But then you have a dedicated section that is for the consumers on Saturday morning.
Yeah, we try to change the target audience, so we create a moment completely dedicated to public B2C, and we create topics for public B2B. We move the target, because the 3 day with the same target is very difficult. Have all the people all in the stage, in the location all the day.
And the question that I ask myself is, like, you have a very, let's say, sophisticated approach, like looking at all the different dimensions of silver economy, and I understood this conference is a product developed by your marketing agency. Is this correct?
Yeah.
And who is the brain? Is it you, your boss? Do you have like scientific support? Because I mean, it's a lot of difficult questions. I mean, you need a lot of, let's say, deep effort to prepare, to look at the question, to do research, and how do you deal with this question?
In 3 years, we arrange a very important networking. So we collaborate with the university, with the institution, with other association like Silver Economy Network. So we create a great networking and big networking for build the correct link, and for create a good level of speaker and participant. But is the third year, so every year we grow a little bit, and we organize better, and we have more public, more speaker. But it's a work of networking that started with the idea of my boss, Daniela Meri, and we work in a team in the office, but we have a large network that help us with the topics.
Okay, good. Are there other questions from the audience to Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see anything. Then I only have two wishes. The first is that we can travel to Italy in October without any problems, and then we only have to learn Italian to listen to all the different presentations and discussions. And still a little bit of time over the summer, but we wish you all the success for your meeting and that you're able to host the meeting as you have planned it in October.
We open that the situation it's okay for organize the meeting completely. Also,
we will see. We will see. Now we are always every meetings are organized with a B plan. So we are organizing. They are organizing the event, and they have also the possibility to have an online meeting. I joined the last online meeting, and it was very fruitful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And now, Doreen, you will move us to the outbreak sessions. We now have only 4 groups, yeah? Is it correct?
Yes.
4 groups?
That's right. 4 groups.
Moderated by Christian, Barbara, Atti, and me. And there will be a few more people in the groups, but I think we will manage, yeah? And then we come back at 11:45, yeah?
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy.
Welcome back to the group. Oh, we lost some participants. We are now 29, but still, thanks to everybody who contributed to the discussion in the outbreak sessions. We had an interesting discussion looking at the different experiences related to events, to workshops like this, where, like in Slovakia, there was some events on technology and business, some like on seniors, but still they have not yet mixed it, but at least for the project, they were able to be involved in the task force member group. Anna also spoke about their experience that they have tried to organize senior fairs where business present their products, but somehow they were not able to attract the seniors to come to this event. There were some limits from the institutional and financial sides, a lot of good intention, but maybe the marketing needs to be improved. And yeah, in Graz, there are also examples of business networking and user fairs where companies in the interviews stated that it was very important for them to use these fairs to test their products, to talk to the seniors, and then to improve it. And with Andrea from Italy, we had a longer discussion about how university and companies live in their own world and try to have different perspectives. And these events can be useful to overcome the barriers, and not only to have a technology perspective, but also the social perspective of this dimension. Yeah, for sure. Christian, how was your discussion ongoing?
Yeah, we had a nice discussion and several, at least 2 examples, one from Poland and another one from Austria. Congresses with elderly people, specialists have been involved, providers of products, of new products, or products have been involved. The idea of that event was healthy and active aging. We found out that the event, as organized last year, wasn't meant to foster co-creation, but we also found several instruments that might be used to make it a more co-creative way. For example, by using World Cafe instead of giving just a quotation mark normal breakfast. And we also discussed the question what to do to co-create new innovations together with providers, together with specialists, and together with elderly people. And we came to the conclusions we need a good target, we need a plan how to do it, and the need to create a familiar setting for all those people involved in such a project. We discussed a bit, is it better to use an open approach or a more closed approach? By open, they mean we do not have an idea for a new product and just simply ask all those elderly people, those specialists and providers. And with a more closed prose approach, we mean there is a focal actor having some idea, but asking elderly people, is it a good idea? How can we develop it further and so on?
Okay, thanks a lot. Ati, can you please summarize your group?
Yeah, I would say that we talked a lot about Austria again. It is a main topic. So you should definitely contact Wolfgang if you have any, sorry, Wolfgang, but really he has, and his company has had very, very relevant experience in like open calls for projects in this industry. They actually participated in a local technology cluster organized conference / tech innovation event where they actually had like an open call for innovative solutions in dementia management. And ever since they have their company actually started working together with a project in this topic, and are in discussions with 2 or 3 other projects, which I would say is like exactly the order of events that is described in the iCare Smart project, and like the ideal way of engaging businesses is something that this Styria region human, what is the cluster name? Human biotechnology or
Human technology cluster.
Human technology cluster, yeah. That's something that was done like in last year, exactly in the sequence of steps that we should do. And they had very strong experience or positive experience in that. So I think we should copy as much of that as possible.
So maybe good to look at these resources again and use their experiences.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ati. Barbara, last.
Yes, we discuss, we focus the attention of how to engage seniors in this type, using the last example, in this type of event, because it's too much broad, and sometimes we seniors can be not so simple to be engaged and to provide a proper contribution. And also, as in the Christian group, we identify that it's better to have some close approach when you are going to design a solution. So to have small groups, small teams that represent all the quadrupes helix members, and instead to have these open events, open idea to build up a roadmap to increase the awareness about the opportunities, especially for the businesses. And what we identify that can be it's really important to have a kind of a senior advisor. So it's a senior, it's an over 70 that has experience also in talk with businesses, or has been involved directly in a company, to be engaged since the beginning, more than so in order to keep focused on the elderly too, about instead about the how to engage businesses. The common knowledge was to identify how to address needs of the business, or how to provide an opportunity. For example, to explain which is the market for the seniors, and to provide them a new network. That was some of the solutions adopted in these 2 tools presented today, and also used inside the teams the project partners, sorry, for create the task force members, because to engage business also in the task force seems to be tricky if you don't find the proper way to communicate the opportunities to them. This is more or less the conclusion. Even if we have a very good discussion, and I keep note of many things that I will use in the future that I don't want to share now with you. Okay, thanks, Barbara. I think, yeah, we managed good with all the discussion and also with the timing. Thanks to everybody who contributed to the workshop so far. We will now move to a break, 15 minutes break, and then we come back to the session dedicated to EIT Health. Unfortunately, I have to leave you now because I have another meeting that I need to participate. So thanks for everybody, and wish you good success of the last hour, and see you very soon. So take care, enjoy your break. Andreas. Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, Doreen, should we start? Are you here?
Yes. Just a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay. So yes, let's start. I already gave Monica the co-host.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. So we can start.
Okay, very good. I hope that everyone hears us. My name is Monica Todt. I am the Risk Program Manager within EIT Health. We will talk a little bit about the Risk Program. Let me introduce my colleagues. So Nora Félegyházi, who is the Innovation Ecosystem Development Manager, and Eva Guzek, who is Regional Manager for the Northern countries, so covering 6 countries altogether. We have been asked to make a presentation about our experiences, what we gained within the RISH program on assessment of regional ecosystems. Just a little bit of summary. What is Regional Innovation Scheme? A Regional Innovation Scheme has been established by the European Parliament and Council some years ago, and the main goal is to support the innovation capacity development of countries which are, let's say, moderate or modest innovators in Europe. You can see on the chart that we are covering 13 countries, which is almost half of Europe, and we very much believe that there is huge potential in our region in terms of talents and startups and research results. So we treat ourselves as gateway to untapped potential. As I mentioned before, we cover those regions which are moderate or modest innovators according to the European Innovation Scoreboard. So what is European Innovation Scoreboard? Most probably some of you may know about it. This is actually published each year by the European Union. And it is a, let's say, comparative assessment of research and innovation potential and performance of EU countries. So actually it assesses the strengths and weaknesses of regions in terms of research and innovation. Each country can track their progress from year to year and also compare themselves with other countries. And they can also identify those areas which need to be developed. So as you can see on the chart with the orange and yellow, these are those countries which are moderate or modest innovators. So this is exactly the region that we cover. As you can see on the picture, these are those countries. So how is the innovation performance measured by the scorecard? They actually use 27 performance indicators in 4 categories. The first category is around the innovation-friendly environment and human resources and everything. The other aspect is investment, private and public investment in R&D. Mainly, the third one is the innovation activities, also on company level, not only in universities, research organizations. And the fourth element is the impact on society and economy. You can easily find this report year by year on internet. So I do not want to rob your time with all the indicators. Just one element what I would like to emphasize here is that, of course, there are countries which have really good overall innovation performance in almost in each aspect. There are also some strong and moderate innovators who perform in some specific fields, in some individual dimensions. So, for instance, I would like to mention that, for instance, Sweden is good at human resources, Portugal is good at supporting and accelerating SMEs, or, for instance, Austria is a top performer in collaboration of local actors. But I would like to mention here that in Paris on the last EIT Summit, we organized a workshop for our regions with MIT. And one of the MIT guys said that we don't need to have 200 Silicon Valleys globally, because each region is different. Each region has specific knowledge and specialties. So the regions should rather deeply understand their specifics, their strengths, weaknesses, focus on the strengths, and therefore create a competitive advantage and have a clear characteristics which makes that region competitive on the global market. Okay, so what is the mission of our RISE program? So as I mentioned, improve the innovation capacity of those countries. And here you can see I highlighted that we do it via capacity building, and we really support the closer interaction of local triangle innovator actors. Actually, within EIT we rather talk about KTI, so knowledge triangle actors, which are university, business, and research organizations. And the reason behind is that EIT partner organizations are coming from these sectors, so university, business, and research. So one of the major building block of our RISE program is the ecosystem development. I do not want to cover the other topics because it would take some hours to introduce you all the elements of the RISE program. So what is innovation ecosystem? It is more or less obvious that a large number and diverse nature of participants and resources which are necessary for innovation. And what are the characteristics of a successful innovation ecosystem? Of course, an active knowledge economy, because we are living in a world where we have a knowledge-based economy, let's say. This ecosystem should comprise academic, public sector, and also business sector. It comprises also of innovation activities with effective commercialization. So innovation is not enough. I mean, those research results should appear on the market, of course. And it is also very, very important that all these aspects should be supported by a public policy mechanism. So you can see this colorful chart, which is actually the quadruple helix participants, let's say, the public authorities, industry, academia, and citizens. Just a little bit about, the quadruple helix. Quadruple helix is actually covering the main actors of a successful innovation ecosystem. So this is a policy-making tool for economic growth and regional development. In this model, the government, industry, academia, and civil participants work together to create a new future and initiate structural changes. We talk a lot about and work on the university business cooperations, which is meant to be one of the most important engine towards knowledge economy and knowledge-based society. Therefore, the university business cooperation is really, really crucial, and this is also what we can support in EIT has. And also, as I mentioned, public policy should facilitate the innovation activities. So also in our regions, we work a lot with universities, researchers, and everyone, but it seems that the governments, local governments, needs to be there to take decisions. And here I would like to mention 2 examples. Last year, we had a wonderful study tour to Oxford, and it was very, very obvious that, Oxford is one of the most developed innovation hub in Europe. So there has been governmental decisions to invest in innovation and R&D, and this was really the trigger of the development of Oxford ecosystem. And I would like to also mention Erlangen, which is, of course, in Germany, where we saw that there has been a mayor of Erlangen 25 years ago who decided that he definitely would like to boost the development of that country and region. And therefore, he decided to attract a large industrial company to settle factories in Erlangen. This was Siemens. And this is a fantastic example how the industry cooperates with the university, and innovation is really flourishing in Erlangen. And this was the basic start was really a governmental decision. And of course, we also experienced that, you know, when the mayor was, a new mayor was selected, the new mayor also continued the initiatives, the previous, let's say, local governments and mayor. And in the quadruple helix, it is very important to involve the citizens and the society, because innovation is not enough on its own. It should have a really user-oriented approach. Otherwise, users, I don't know, in case of healthcare, the patients won't use the products or services which are not developed in the right way. I just want to, here. So what I mentioned that within EIT Health, we talk about KTI, which is the knowledge triangle integration, which is comprising of business, higher education, and research institutes. But here I would like to give the floor to my colleague Eva, because Eva will talk a little bit about our KTI assessment, let's say, exercises, what we have done several years ago. And you will see the progress, so we started with the KTI assessment, then we narrowed the scope, and we have done also asset mapping, and then we also narrowed down to some focus areas, and Nori will share you about the, let's say, focus area projects and innovation development, innovation ecosystem development activities, what we run right now. So Eva, please continue. I stop sharing and you can share your screen.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, let me share. Good afternoon, everyone. I will briefly talk about, I don't know if this is already in the presentation mode. Okay, no. Okay, good. Can you see the screen?
Sure.
Okay, so basically we talk about, okay, so first of all, for the sake of the discussion, I wanted to say that we are aware of the fact that the knowledge triangle or knowledge triangle integration has many definitions, but for the sake of this discussion and for the sake of the program, the REAST program that we have been running for the past 3 years, we use the European Commission's definition, which refers to the interaction between research, business, and innovation. So we talk about the measuring local ecosystem or knowledge triangle integration. However, it is very difficult to measure it or have a starting point in terms of working with the partners in the local context. So our long-term goal is to increase the already existing cooperation and already existing linkages and help facilitate this transition locally in a more practical way. So from student to entrepreneur, from idea to product, and from lab to a consumer. When we started working with our partners, we used a tool called Action Plan Finder. We wanted them to see themselves first. So this is very important to understand. This is a self-evaluation tool, not an assessment tool. Monica already mentioned the innovation scoreboard, and there are many other tools that measure regions or institutions against other regions, or they put them in this more competitive frame. We wanted to avoid that. And and allow them to discover themselves. The tool, first of all, allows you to understand where you are in the local innovation ecosystem, but it also gives you a visual understanding of where you are, where you want to be, and what could be the next steps. So the tool looks like this. It might seem a bit complicated, but first of all, this was done with our partners on the interview basis. So it would also allow, require a lot of openness and trust, because people didn't want to firstly reveal all the information, or maybe challenges that they were facing regionally, or institutional burdens that they maybe were not aware of. So basically on the left-hand side, we tried to self-assess cooperation among people in the region. And on the right-hand side, we focus more on the cooperation among institutions. So on the left-hand side, for example, I'm going to help myself with the questions. Here, a region was supposed to self-assess, so give himself or themselves as an institution a score from 1 to 4. And for example, when it comes to education, we would give them questions such as how the students from your university receive business development knowledge, or do they participate in compulsory management classes, or if you have lectures with other partners, do you invite industrial representatives? So that sort of questions will help them understand how advanced they are on this journey, and they would give themselves certain points. On the right-hand side, it could be either yes or no. So for yes would be 1 point, for no would be no point. That would also more refer to like joint locations or joint strategies among institutions. And then it would give us an average of the cooperation among people and among institutions. So what, of course, we discovered is for fully fledged or fully integrated knowledge triangle, we need both processes among people and among institutions, and not only one is enough to create a lasting ecosystem. And that would give us, that would lead us to this figure. For visualization purposes, we used a music sheet typology. So normally most of the RIS partners would start somewhere here. So they would be at the beginning of cooperating with their stakeholders in terms of institutions and people. So they would be considered a novice. Usually the way, I mean, the end point where they would like to, be would be the orchestra. So that's fully fledged ecosystem, both with people and institutions. The majority of them would travel this way. For example, with support of our KIC, when we learn certain information, we try to support them with the existing schemes within the region. So by strengthening certain linkages, we would make them stronger. So they would become a soloist. So they would become a stronger partner. And then only then they would learn how to also incorporate institutions and make the cooperation a bit more fully fledged. So this tool can be used in many different ways. Of course, as you can imagine, the answers would depend on an institution. Most of our partners are either university-based or around the university. So of course, certain questions refer more to this setting, but we also had different approaches, and we would just ignore the part about the education. If it was more industry, they could answer from their own perspective. So this tool can be used for two purposes. The first one is the development over an organization. So with the score, it would place you, for example, here, and if you, on the basis of the findings, if you develop a plan, you can measure yourself after a certain period of time. It can be 3 months, it can be 6, it can be a year, but it can also give you an understanding of the organization within the region. Each of the organization, of course, should take the questionnaire individually, And then you can decide what is important or where should you meet in the middle, or how should you, which road should be the best for you, which is going through making stronger one or two partners and then creating an orchestra, or perhaps investing in cooperation with institutions and reaching this goal through this way. So to understand it a bit more, I hope I'm not disclosing any sensitive information, and believe me, the institutions who participated in that, they were a bit afraid, as there's always an element of sort of a judgment. How my score will be against other institutions' scores. But fortunately, the outcome was very positive. So for example, here we, at the time, worked with the University of Tartu in Estonia. Then we have a one hub in Lithuania, but for obvious reasons, we wanted the medical university and the technical university take the interview separately. Then we had Medical University of Gdańsk, and for just comparison purposes, we have Medical University of Łódź. So that's more or less how they were placed. So I think here we can use an example of Lithuania. So Medical University of Lithuania is here, and Technical University of Kaunas, of Kaunas, this is Lithuanian Medical University, is here. So you can see that the emphasis on cooperation and on building the local innovation ecosystem is completely different. And they had to find a way, because this was only a basis. Later, my colleagues would discuss that other tools that we use within the program to support our partners, but this was also for them only to understand and create an action plan. So Lithuania or our region in Kaunas had to figure out what was the low-hanging fruit for them and how they would like to gain or make the next step. And they would also have to compromise in terms, because the Kaunas region is very small. So if two strong institutions would push in different directions, nothing really could happen, or cannot be measured, or they couldn't create anything tangible. And I think this is also very interesting. The main findings after our exercise is that the tool provides a very good reference point to the current situation. And funny enough, most of the hubs self-assessed themselves correctly. So they felt in a way where the challenges were, where they would be stronger, where there are the weaker parts in the region. And they all agreed that it is qualitative tool. We have to remember just to self-reflect, and it should be treated as a starting point. It also opened, we were fortunate enough to work with a group of people who are not only open-minded, but they are also neighbors in terms of geography, because those are Eastern European countries and the Baltic countries. So they would, for example, also understand, and it would open up a discussion on the fact that we could solve certain challenges locally. So it doesn't always have to be Eastern Central European country against Western country. If colleagues from Lithuania discovered that they were better at something than colleagues from Gdańsk, immediately the conversation would start on how to proceed, or how they could exchange the best practices already. And we also have to remember that this is only self-assessment. So of course, there might be questions, or people may question the quality of the tool, in the sense that it doesn't give quantitative answers. So on the left-hand side, when you have the people-driven cooperation, it says weak, strong, and very strong. And it really depends on what you think is strong. If 2 times cooperating with someone is strong already, or is it weak? Because there are other cases where people have joint initiatives, 15 times a year. So of course it doesn't give you this, but this tool doesn't really, it's not supposed to, this exercise isn't supposed to give us research-based data, but rather a starting point. And also it makes the partners feel that they participate. So it's not another organization coming and judging or assessing and saying, what do you have to do? But it's having them on board and having them discuss it also from the internal point of view. So that's it from my side. And I think Moni now will take over for. few more slides, but I think you're.
I was muted. Okay, Eva, please jump on the next slide. Eva, can you please jump on?
Yes, I'm doing it, but it doesn't want to. Okay.
Okay.
Let me try again.
Okay, then I share my screen. Okay, Eva.
I don't know why it doesn't want to go back.
No problem.
Another.
So here we go. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So, as Eva mentioned, that we did this exercise with the region. So this was really a self-assessment, and the reason behind, or the goal, was to give them a better insight, better understanding of their local innovation ecosystem and the decision-making mechanism and the way of cooperation locally. We, as I mentioned, that the regions should also find their key assets, key features, key characteristics which they can build on. Therefore, we thought that we should narrow down the scope of our investigations, and therefore we engaged a research organization, and the goal was to make a deep analysis and research on the regions, and to identify the unique assets, because we also realized that this region has really fantastic talents and research results, but this region is not really good at selling their let's say values, and therefore this research organization made an analysis, and just the next slide shows that there has been a deep desk research and also lots of interviews with local actors, and of course an analysis and a recommendation package on what they have found. And the aim of this exercise was to explore the advantages and strengths of that regional ecosystem, find the relevant R&D and innovation-related items, areas, research results, fantastic, promising startups, research organizations, and everything. And if they made these interviews, we also asked them to identify some challenges, barriers, in terms of ecosystem development. And I can show you some key findings. So there has been, of course, similarities among the regions, but there has been also key issues which were similar in those regions. So for instance, the TTO functionalities are not really good. I mean, in many cases, the faculties, labs are really autonomous. They are fragmented, they are decentralized, there is lack of incentives, there is limited support for startups, spin-offs, a lack of awareness of the importance of the cooperation and everything. And I show you just one example, if I can jump on. Yeah, so for instance, this was, let's say, one of the outcome of the analysis for Liberec, which is in Czech Republic, that the research organization listed what are the key elements, or let's say promising assets of the infrastructure, what are the most promising startups in terms of healthcare innovation, also in terms of talents, what are the leading, let's say, universities, courses. For instance, I don't know, biomedical technology is really good at Liberec, or other aspects, and also the research capacities and centers and institutions. And the next slide is just a little bit that there has been recommendations. So what they have to prioritize, what they have to plan, let's say, create a comprehensive approach and strategy for developing the region, and what they should drop and what they should implement, like, I don't know, networking events and other aspects. So this was a very, very important step also for the regions, because in some cases they were also surprised that what is natural for them to have a research organization or a living lab, but in international comparison, it is a real value what they can build on. So this was the asset mapping exercise. So I would like to give the floor to Nuri, we'll talk about our currently running program, which is the DRIVE program, and which is all about getting closer and create tailor-made, let's say, ecosystem development strategies for the regions. So I stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Molly.
Please.
I will share. Okay. So can everybody see it? Can everybody see the screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, okay, sorry, because I don't see you, it's very difficult. Okay.
We're nodding.
Yeah, thank you. So I will introduce the model that we work with in our EIT Health Drive program, which is basically our ecosystem development program. And we have developed it in the beginning of this year. But first, let's quickly recap what an innovation ecosystem is. So I have here two definitions, one from Freeman, who is teacher, professor and economist at Harvard University. And he says that innovation ecosystem is the network of institutions in the public and private sectors whose activities and interactions initiate, import, modify, and diffuse new technologies. And I have another one from Ed Quist, who is a Swedish researcher in innovation. And he says actually quite similarly that an ecosystem comprises all important economic, social, political, organizational, institutional, and any other factors that influence the development, diffusion, and use of innovation. So to shorten this, basically, it is the network and interactions of those who drive innovation. But who drive really innovation? So here on this slide, you can see most of the stakeholders in an innovation ecosystem. As you can see, it includes people with different skills, organizations with different profiles, even environments. So what is really important is that all these stakeholders interact in a really well-functioning ecosystem. To understand it even better, our contact at the Technical University at Delft, Roel Kammerling, has once compared innovation ecosystems to binaries. And I really love this analogy because it really depicts how the innovation ecosystems function. So different type of grapes, grow in different types of soils, as in ecosystem, different cultures accept different ideas. So for example, in an individualistic society, they probably work with other ideas than in a collectivist society. And then there is the equipment with which the grapes are processed and fermented, and then the outcome is hopefully a good wine. And in ecosystems, we have the support mechanisms that help to further develop the ideas and then turn them into marketable products and services. All this happens in buildings in the winery and organizations in the ecosystems, which usually also have a building. And in both cases, there are external factors that influence all the processes. So we need warm, sunny summer weather for good grapes, and we need a really favorable environment for innovation, regulatory environment for innovations to really flourish. And of course, there is another really important similarity, which is that it takes a long time to have a real good red wine, and as well as it takes decades to have a really mature ecosystem. There are several models that group the different stakeholders and components of the ecosystems that you've seen on the second slide. So for example, the World Bank ecosystem model regards people, economic assets, the infrastructure, enabling environment, and the networking assets as the main main components. But I will not, since I don't have so much time, I will rather deep dive now in our model that we use in the EIT Health Drive program. So first, for you to see what this program is, the overall goal is to equip our EIT Health representatives with competencies that will first enable them to understand their existing system, and then develop a targeted improvement strategy to deploy new interventions, and obviously obtain some tangible results in the innovations ecosystem every year. The program participants, who are currently the representatives of our EIT Health Hubs, work towards strengthening regional innovation capacities and fostering collaboration among the KTI actors. And for 2020, each region has selected a focus area. So Hungary and Latvia aim to engage clinical stakeholders in innovation. Porto in Portugal, Greece, Czech Republic, Slovenia, and Italy will improve processes related to startup acceleration. Romania, Lithuania, and Evora in Portugal will work on developing the entrepreneurial skills of the students in their region. Poland and Croatia aim to develop their technology transfer capabilities. And the goal of Estonia and Slovakia is to create a network of policymakers who will drive innovation in their region. The training has three main modules. In the first module, participants create a network analysis in order to gain an understanding of how local decision makers can be engaged so that they create a stronger and more connected innovation ecosystem. In the second module, they analyze the key features of their region to gain insight into the already available support mechanisms and have a more quantitative overview of their region. And then in the third module, they design a 5-year strategy and a 1-year-long action plan within their focus area. And the goal in this phase is really to learn what support mechanisms will be useful to improve their ecosystem and how they can create a strategy that is really supported by the key stakeholders. Besides the core program, EIT Health Drive also has additional program elements, and so we can create a unique learning experience. So we have inspirational talks with ecosystem leaders, master classes about specific topics, and we have also created an online learning platform with the best practice library and learning and other learning materials. During the whole program, each participant has a trainer and a mentor from TU Delft and also from other developed innovation ecosystem to support them in planning and implementation. We have already organized the first masterclass, which was train the trainer about market validation. It was held by Alexander Giga, who is a teacher and mentor at the Delft Center for Entrepreneurship. And we will organize the inspirational talks as well. One already this week. So the first one will be with Joop Nies, the former director of the Yes Delft incubator. And then next week we will have a talk with Professor Karel Juben, who will talk about the role of universities and scientists in a regional innovation ecosystem. So here we will discuss their own experiences, their successes and failures that they faced during their careers, and participants can really ask any questions they have related to the topic. And now we are arriving to the ecosystem model that we use in EIT Health Drive. This model was developed by 22 researchers from different regions, so from Delft, Oxford, Rotterdam, Leiden, Zurich, and Debrecen. And this model regards the innovation ecosystem as a pipeline process. So it has the inputs, which is basically the generation of ideas. the throughput, which is the development of ideas, and the output, which are the ideas that have matured into marketable products and services. More concretely, as you can see, inputs can be, for example, scientific results or prototypes. Throughputs can be incubators, startups, patents, and the outputs will be the product, services, jobs, and companies in the region. Well, for EIT Health, this all will be in the health sector. And besides the input, throughput, and output, there are key support mechanisms that we should really activate in order to push outcomes out of the pipeline. So these are the talent base, the network, the support mechanisms, and the entrepreneurial culture. Talents will form the startup teams, and the network will finally support these startups with advice, customer insights, and first investment. So you really need to understand the composition of your talent base, their skills level, and how they are really connected to your region. Support mechanisms are in place within universities, companies, or at regional governments, and they support the development of the teams and the development of their products and services. And then we have the culture that either discourages or favors risk-taking and collaboration, and either likes or dislikes exploring new opportunities. If we want to develop the ecosystem, it is crucial that we really connect quantifiable indicator to these phases. And here is an example of what data we should look at. So first, it is important to have an overall view of your region, what universities are present, what are the strengths of the regions, how many health startups do you have, well, in case of EIT Health, as I said, and so on. And then it is also important to look at the steering mechanisms within your focus area. So now I put some indicators for the startup acceleration focus area on the slide, where first it is very important to see whether you have any entrepreneurship skill raising programs at university level for your individuals, for your talents, because they will be the ones founding the startups later on, whether you have any validation programs, incubation or acceleration programs, whether you have a building connected to that. And it is also crucial whether you have funding available for your startups. So for example, a proof of concept fund or another investment fund. And this is not only important, to see where you're at, but also to really measure the success later on and for benchmarking. And then when you have all these indicators, then you can create nice spider diagrams as well, which can be really good for comparison. So we will do this with all of the 14 regions, and then those who really excel in one aspect, they can help those who are really struggling with that in the ecosystem. And when we are done with the analysis, we can finally start planning. What is really crucial is that the key people who you will collaborate with during the implementation should also take part in the planning. We suggest to have a long-term vision and a strategy, and then break that down into yearly or even monthly action plans. A good action plan is a combination of ad hoc actions, programs, and structural changes, and you can focus your actions on skill development, enhancing entrepreneurial culture, or the support mechanisms. So you can see some examples on the slides. For example, if you would like to improve the skills, you can organize master classes or even a master program in entrepreneurship at the regional university. If you would like to improve the entrepreneurial culture, it's good to bring people together from industry and academia, and perhaps with an annual entrepreneurial scientist award, you can enhance the entrepreneurial thinking among scientists. And if you would like to improve the support mechanisms, then organizing a hackathon for challenges could be a good idea, or a mentor program, or if you can involve the policymakers, then even a regional investment fund. I've collected some examples from our regions and who are from the regions you come from as well. So in Hungary, our hub is in Pécs, and they will organize innovation management trainings for clinical leaders. In Czech Republic, our hub is in Liberec. It is an accelerator. They already have, of course, an acceleration program, but now they will build a specific track for digital health startups. In Italy, our hub is in Palermo in Sicily. They will create an investor network for their local startups. Poland, our hub is the Medical University of Dansk, and they will organize business plan creation masterclasses for researchers. And in Slovakia, our hub is in Košice, and they will create a validation program for startups. So this is really a lot, and this is also an action plan for several years, I believe. But what really the key takeaways would be from this, and what we also tell our hubs in this program, is that they should start with small steps. They should definitely analyze what they have already and then define a vision. And it is key to already start with these 3 questions at the beginning: that who you will collaborate with, how much funding do you need for the actions that you plan, and where will you get it from, and how you will measure success. So thank you for your attention. I think that's all from my side. I
have a question about the methodology. Is there like any open source material that maybe we can look over to see what how you set these milestones, goals, and KPIs and stuff like that?
In the program?
Yeah, so actually these indicators are from the Health Ties article. This is also an EU-funded program. So I think that's an open publication. So I can send that to you, and then you have all the indicators, because this was only some of them that I showed.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, I can share that with you later.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Okay, then thanks a lot. Are there any questions?
If not now, then you can reach out to Attila anytime. So just drop a line to Attila, and you can consult us.
Yes, we will do so. Then thank you very, very, very much for this interesting presentation. To all participants, our third training ends. I don't know what to do the next Tuesdays, but
we will find out.
Yes, I think we will find some activities.
We can have a coordination meeting. Don't worry.
And beside of this presentation, if you have any kind of request, or you would like to reach out to our regions, just drop us a line, and we will connect you with our hubs or colleagues in the hubs in those regions. So for instance, there is a living lab in Portugal, and there are lots of activities which relate to your project actually. So just let us cooperate, because we are very much open for any kind of initiative, and yeah, sure, in the future.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
That's great. Okay, then just a second. Agnieszka, thanks for nice meeting. Thank you very much for joining, and you will receive all results from senior engagement and from business engagement within the next days. So we stay in touch. Too. I would like to thank you to all our speakers from today, and to those who are here, who spoke the last trainings. Thank you very much for your support, Valentina, Kerstin, Ati, Barbara. Without you, we could not have made this training. And then I have to say goodbye.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for organizing the training events, and thank you for all the participants.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.